Good evening, everyone. Do not adjust your set. TV. Don't adjust your TV, right? Don't adjust your monitors.
Phone.
Because this Tuesday is the new Monday, is the new Thursday.
Right. This is a first for us, an emergency podcast. Oh my goodness. Breaking news. And a big one too. I mean, if you haven't heard this news today, you have been living under a rock. Death's Door
you're too busy gaming.
Death's Door is in Game Pass. Good night, everyone.
Yes.
Actually, that should be big news.
Hitman collection.
That's right. Oh, and the Hitman collection and Windjammers 2, and I'm telling you, what great neuse. So, yeah, unbelievable stuff happening today, guys. I've look, you guys know that I loved covering this industry when I was with it, when we had NLgaming.com, and you know that I've seen a lot. You know that I've experienced a lot. I cannot say in my life I have witnessed what happens today.
No.
This is
this magnitude.
No, not of this magnitude. This is I can't even, it's hard to still, like, I've been thinking about this all day, and I'm still having trouble wrapping my mind around this. So we'll lay it out there for those who have not heard this news today, and if you haven't, again, I don't know where the hell you've been, but Microsoft has agreed in principle to acquire Activision, or
Activision
better known
Blizzard,
as,
right?
yes, Activision-Blizzard.
Yeah.
In a $68.9 billion deal with a B. $billion
in all
deal.
cash.
In all cash. Well, so right. So they're going to hold on, there is I'm working on getting all of the pertinent information up. Unfortunately, I just came home from Scouts, so I'm in a little bit of a race to get stuff up. Born, what was the name of the former Xbox guy that went to Blizzard? That would be Myke Ibarra.
Ibarra, yeah.
And Rod Ferguson too.
And Rod Ferguson, right? They both went to. So we're going to talk about that. We're going to try to cram all this in before 10 o'clock. But if we go over a little bit, we go over a little bit. But so I want to say good evening to Brother Infinite. Please let the guys over at Retro Renegades know we're holding off. We didn't want to run over Retro Renegades, so and I know you guys were talking about it earlier. What is up, Cousin Born? Brother Dorkside, welcome. I know you and I were talking a little bit on Twitter today, and Kurt Bradshaw, welcome, sir. Okay, so Microsoft will acquire Activision Blizzard for $95 per share in an all-cash. Let me repeat that.
Yeah.
An all-cash transaction valued at $68.7 billion, inclusive of Activision Blizzard's net cash. When this transaction closes, Microsoft will become the world's third largest gaming company, behind Sony at number 2 and everybody's new favorite enemy, Tencent, number 1. So this is everything. This is Activision, this is Blizzard, and this is King, which is Candy Crush and a boatload of mobile games, some of which you or your family members, your spouse, your kids have probably played. Maybe even you.
I'm guilty of playing Candy Crush. I haven't played it lately, but I have
that was a
played
long
it.
time ago.
Yeah.
I must say that I haven't spent a dime in buying anything, but
No.
I know some people do, and before you know, they spend $400,
Yeah.
and that's why it's a very profitable company. It's like
This
with
is-
a, you know.
This is absolutely amazing. Hey, brother, back. Absolutely. So just in the gaming space, okay? I want you to think about the deals that have led up to this. Now, I'm just talking gaming because obviously Microsoft purchased LinkedIn, Nokia, other, but just the gaming. Do you guys remember when we first talked about Microsoft spending $2 billion to purchase Mojang? I remember how he said, "Good grief, $2 billion is a large amount of money."
It's quite a chunk of change.
Right. And then
It's nothing.
right.
That's
And then
pocket
last year came what we thought was the biggin, right? ZeniMax for 7 point some odd billion dollars. And we're like, holy crap.
Yeah.
I wonder
No,
what
that's just hard.
Yeah, I wonder what Todd and company are thinking today.
Well, here's another thing. I think the
Mm-hmm.
Activision-Blizzard King deal is much. They bring in much more money, like
They are.
revenue each year, though.
They are. I mean,
So that's all,
yeah. I
taken
mean,
into account.
think about what this means for Microsoft. And then there's some other news that kind of got hidden in all this.
Yeah.
That kind of makes this just unbelievable. So Microsoft now owns Call of Duty. And by that they own Treyarch and Beesnax, which did Pointer it. And
Raven?
and
Raven
Infinity Ward.
Oh, yeah.
Raven is part of that too.
Yeah.
Sledgehammer.
Sledgehammer. Toys for Bob.
Toys for
But
Bob.
Call of Duty.
Yeah. The number one game every year.
Every year.
Pretty much.
The biggest.
Yeah.
Microsoft now owns 3 of the largest first-person shooters on the market today. Halo?
Well, no.
Okay. Well, what do you?
Well, yeah. Besides that, go ahead, and then I have another one. That's,
right. Halo, Doom,
yeah,
and Call of Duty. Go ahead, Peter. What were you adding?
Well, another thing is like the amount of top esports games or franchises they own. Boom. Call of Duty,
Overwatch.
I guess Halo.
So,
because
Mike said duty. Well, so I was going to bring this up a little later, but I'm glad you said that, Peter, because
this is the thing that I care the least about. Probably we all do because we're old farts.
We do, right? But how much money goes into these tournaments and how much money is poured into esports?
A lot.
And Sony just bought stake in an esports in Evo. Well, that's fighting, so that's not. But think about this. Think about what this means. This one has wide-ranging implications beyond just games. I mean, Microsoft has always maintained, or at least in the last few years, that they don't consider Sony and Nintendo to be their direct competition. They've always.
This is a statement that proves that.
Right.
Really.
They don't. They are looking at. I mean, they really are looking at Tencent, maybe, and maybe they're not even looking at that. They're looking at how do we get mobile.
Right.
How do we get that going? what do we do to continue to grow Game Pass and to grow our cloud gaming? Because I still believe, I'm going to turn myself up a little bit here. I still believe that they feel their main competition are things like Stadia and Luna. So,
I would throw Tencent in that too.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, and
I would
maybe,
be worried if Tencent putting, buying stock into some of these big game industry companies to where it would. Let's say Tencent had bought in to Activision. Would Microsoft have been able to buy out Activision with Tencent being involved?
I don't know. Maybe if the price is right.
Yeah.
But then that would be a much tougher thing.
Tencent's in the game. Tencent's in the game to be the best. And
But you're right.
Now, they are.
Microsoft has to be worried about Luna, which is Amazon, and Stadia, which is Google. And those two companies, they themselves can have the cash, have the money like Microsoft.
Yep.
If they really wanted to.
Well, this is what's funny is that this still does not. People need to understand this while they're talking about monopolies and all this stuff. This still does not put them at Sony's level. I mean, it doesn't. So don't forget how powerful Sony still is in this industry. No, and there you go. See, you, Peter,
100%, Pete.
Peter and Pete, Peter and Pete. And by the way, so I want to shout out. I want to shout out Pete because while everybody else was making videos about this from the angle of what it means for Xbox versus Sony versus all that, Pete had a very good point that they own a ton of older IP like Pitfall.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
Yeah. And the iMagic games. And stuff that I think Pete did a great video today, basically where he said Microsoft now owns his childhood. Now Dorkside says, he doesn't think this acquisition will do anything to forward that franchise. And I hear that and I do understand that, but what it could do is it could get some back catalog stuff going. Because I do believe there was, and Pete will know better than me, I thought there was for example, an Xbox version of Pitfall, Xbox PS2 version of Pitfall. I'll take a quick look, but imagine, I mean, they did say they're going to try to get as much of the catalog into Game Pass. I can't imagine, right? So, Sister Carla. Hi, Sister Carla.
Time out, Mike.
Yeah, he's saying it is. Yes, go ahead.
Born Distracted. Doesn't Xbox also get Sierra? So I just looked it up, and Sierra is owned by Activision.
Oh, which means
It was owned by Activision.
Not what
was or is?
Right.
Oh, yeah. Well, technically, still is.
No, I know. No, Pete brings up a great point, and so that just adds a deep library there for Xbox to go in that chest and maybe one day revive one of those IPs. You never know. I think if enough of us can make noise, say, hey, give feedback and say, look, we're looking at, can you maybe revive Pitfall or whatever?
Can you imagine like a Pitfall remastered?
Yeah,
I never know.
But the whole thing for gaming conservation, you don't want to have a small little studio or even like somebody who just buys up the IP and then it goes completely dormant. There are a ton of those out there that are like almost kind of forgotten.
Right.
I mean, you rather have somebody that at least holds on to it in a more responsible manner.
It does
It would be
depend
nice
on,
that you would do something with it, though. Absolutely, but
it does depend on what they want to do with this stuff. I mean, you know, and let's be honest, Activision hasn't done anything with Pitfall. So let's not act like Microsoft, you know, is at fault for no Pitfall games. Number one.
Yeah.
Number two, I want to, and you know, what does this mean? I wonder what this does mean. I have to ask Tommy what this means for them getting the Magic stuff for the Amico and things like that, because that does have some impact on licensing. So I wonder what that means for him. However,
I mean, if
do
the deal's
wanna-
already struck, then it might be a done deal.
could be, and I
Anything
mean,
else is like Amico is not really a direct competitor.
No, I'm sure they would, you know, work something out, but what I find interesting is too, and you know, John's not the only one who has said this today. Everybody's kind of barking about Microsoft becoming a monopoly. Here's the problem with that scenario, with that analogy. Take-Two, EA, Ubisoft, Sony, Nintendo, Tencent, you know, more. Who else am I forgetting?
The
in
Embracer
this
Group
space?
or
Embracer Group, Koch Media, who owns THQ and all that stuff. Here's what's really interesting, and tell me if I'm wrong. The company that is least affected by this is Nintendo, because most of this stuff isn't even Nintendo-based stuff. Nobody is crying no one is shedding a tear at Nintendo because this doesn't move their needle one iota. So Microsoft can't really be a monopoly when they can't control Sony's IPs and they can't control Nintendo's IPs. So all they're doing is consolidating, which you could say is good or bad. I mean, there's certainly
the pros and cons.
There are pros and cons. There was pros and cons to them buying ZeniMax, just like there's pros and cons to, you know, to Sony pulling up you know, Spider-Man and Wolverine and Marvel and all this stuff, you know. But yeah, there's no antitrust issue here, which is what Classy Gaming Fun is saying, because it's a publisher merging with another publisher. And they're going to be third place. It's not even that this puts them as the #1 games publisher out there. It puts them at number 3. So you can't really. How do you become a monopoly in the third place?
I mean, you give the you know,
right.
You make
no
the number 1 and 2 more.
Yeah.
You know, you make it so they have to compete more.
Right. And
that's
believe
how
me,
they're not like, hey, you know, we're number 1 and 2. We're cozy down here.
Is that number 3 as 1, 2, 3 as annual sales gaming?
Yeah.
1, 2, 3 stands.
Who's now number
gaming,
3?
Gaming revenue. Who's number 3 now? Might be
I know we brought this up a while back. We had this list.
Yeah, I have to go and look.
What's up, new brother?
Now, here's an interest. So this is something else that. So one of the other things that happened as a result of this is that Phil Spencer is now has now taken the Xbox brand and has moved it into quite literally its own piece of Microsoft. Like it is no longer really Microsoft Xbox at this point. So Phil Spencer has been
He doesn't have a seat at the table. He's
got his own table. Yeah. He's got the table next to the table. He's like, yeah, I'm over here at my own table. He is now so Satya Nadella sent out an email to the staff saying, effective today, Phil Spencer will become CEO of Microsoft Gaming. So it's not, he ain't just head of Xbox anymore. It's not just, hey, you're head of Xbox and Xbox Game Studios. No, no, no. Microsoft Gaming is now this entire team, and he is the chief executive officer.
Yeah.
That's huge. Huge. What's up, Rab? Number 3 now is Take-Two. Thank you, Pete. So,
Well, and also Take-Two just acquired Zynga,
right,
right? So
right.
Yeah.
So, and if you think for a minute, I mean, Sony, there's reasons for Sony to be upset about this today. There's no reason for Nintendo to be upset about this. And honestly, I don't think Tencent is really concerned about this.
No.
Because they're doing their own thing and they're still number 1. So,
they have their fingers in so much stuff. Jeez, that's
Yeah, all around the world.
yeah.
Right.
I mean, every day you read something like, "Oh yeah, Tencent acquired, X percentage," or
yeah. Or they bought all of I was just about to say Turtle Beach. Turtle Backford Blood's
Turtle Rock.
Turtle Rock.
No.
Thank you.
Yeah.
So they're not concerned. I think they had to know that this would have, I mean, I know they don't compete with Sony in that they say we don't compete with Sony, but they had to know what this was going to mean. Now, there's a question of, and Classy Gaming Fun is saying, COD and Overwatch will remain multi-platform. Currently, yes. Currently. I don't know
Anything that is multi-platform right now, those games are not getting yanked.
Right. But just like ZeniMax, future titles, the next Call of Duty, the only places you're going to be able to play it on are Xbox, PC, and mobile.
Definitely the campaigns.
Rab says Tencent just bought Canada, the country. They're like, eh.
Well, earlier he goes, Microsoft bought what? They really shouldn't have. Now what do I get them?
Oh, hey, what's up, Niall? Brother Niall's in the house. He says it doesn't bother me. Good for Xbox.
Yeah.
I mean, this makes Game Pass just the place to play.
Well, that's what it's all about. Yeah. And it's kind of early because we don't know. Because they said this probably won't be finalized till 23 next year. So
June, July.
If anything,
first.
So if you could probably say possibly Call of Duty in 23 will still be multi-plat, but 24 could be a different story. It's still too early to know.
Sure.
What they will decide that is going to be exclusive. Like you said, going forward, anything developed after the acquisition most likely would be exclusive because bottom line, Xbox is all about growing Game Pass, and this is what it's all about, right? And Microsoft is not playing around. One, they bringing Phil to his own table, his own division, PC, mobile, console. They're here to stay, and compete with every other big gaming industry. And this is probably not the last big acquisition. So
Jesus, what's left? I mean,
remember back then we were hearing about Ubisoft, but then it looks like what we didn't know was this whole deal working out. Where now they're putting Ubisoft Plus now on Xbox console. But then again, you never know.
I think Ubisoft was too much like, oh, NFT this, NFT that, and Phil Spencer says like, yeah, I don't think so.
Could
Next.
be. Could be.
Oh my goodness! Welcome in, Killer Scorpion and Reprobate.
Yeah,
Brother Reprobate is in the house.
Real quick, give a couple shout outs earlier. Well, we got Dorkside. and I saw Kurt Bradshaw.
Mm-hmm.
I don't remember seeing those two before.
Unless
they were here when
Dorkside's starting to come around. Him and I
Okay,
know each
cool.
other from the Amico community.
Cool.
So,
yeah, welcome.
Yeah, and welcome, Killer Scorpion. So, I wanted to show you that, guys, this because I don't. It amazes me. You know, we sat here when ZeniMax was purchased, and we said, look at all these franchises that Microsoft now owns. Look at this. Call of Duty, Crash Bandicoot,
Yeah.
Spyro the
shit.
Dragon.
Yeah.
Microsoft owns Spyro now.
Those are-
Sekiro. Well, there's a question on Sekiro. There's
Yeah.
some
Who owns
people
the
that,
IP? Is it,
there's some people that say they do and some people that say they don't. So I'm trying to find that information. If somebody does watch this
Because it
stuff
is,
closely,
who works on it?
From
what's the company
software. It's from
From
software.
software. Yeah, what I read, at least on the wiki, is that From Software guy, I forgot his name, but he wanted to work on either work or create a new IP. But yeah, that doesn't mean that they own it or anything. But
Right. So interesting. So
that
Candy
will
Crush.
that is definitely interesting.
Yep. Candy Crush Saga. So Candy
Yeah,
Crush.
that prints money. Doesn't it print like a $1 billion revenue a year?
Yeah.
Something crazy like that. So
Yeah.
So in 90 years, I mean, in 80 years, it's paid off, right?
Right. Right. Diablo, which is a
Yeah.
huge franchise now.
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Diablo 4 is going to be big.
Tony Hawk, World of Warcraft, Overwatch, StarCraft, and then here's all the mobile stuff: Bubble Witch, Farm Heroes, Diamond Diaries, Pet Rescue.
Dang.
So this is everything that is now coming to, and that doesn't include any new IPs that Activision decides to get started on.
Mm-hmm. But the Call of Duty is the biggest one here.
It is.
As far as
And
what
let's
it's done
be-
over the years.
let's
And
Be honest.
that right there has been a system seller. So you go back to 360 days when Call of Duty was pretty much that.
Was Call of
Xbox
Duty
had
2
all the deals.
an exclusive for Xbox?
Yes.
I read something, but it's like, was it?
Yeah, World at War, I think, was the first one that
I
was
believe
multi-plat.
so. Yeah.
Okay.
But even when Call of Duty started going multi-plat, Xbox and the 360 days had the publisher as far as marketing rights, first on Xbox deals.
Well, even certain
then-
content not on Xbox still, like,
Yeah. But then when we got into the next gen, Xbox One, PS4, Sony went and grabbed that up after the first year. After, I forgot which Call of Duty it was, because 2013, I think Xbox still had marketing rights.
Yeah, it left in 2014, I think.
14. And Sony went and got it. And there's a big reason why, because if you can show that you are the main place for Call of Duty,
Mm-hmm.
and at the time they already had a big difference in price, it attracted so many, because the majority of people who buy these consoles only play Call of Duty or Madden, whatever, right? So, I remember having friends at work were saying, well, I used to play Call of Duty on Xbox, but now I play on PlayStation, because Sony was smart and to go grab that marketing right to make it look like the best play to play Call of Duty was on PlayStation, and they sold a lot of PlayStations because of that. Now, we don't know if going forward, if Xbox, now obviously Sony's not going to have marketing rights anymore going forward, and they're going to do everything they can to say Call of Duty only on Xbox. And if that means in 2024, maybe possibly 23, it depends, that you can only play Call of Duty on Xbox, which is, PC, mobile, and of course, console. And that's going to be, I think, a big hit to Sony, losing that to all those guys that would buy a PlayStation console to play Call of Duty. But that's going to be interesting when that time comes, when We'll see. It's yeah, that's a lot of money right there.
Quick shout out to Reprobate for his super chat.
Aw.
Glad to hear you guys. Well, thanks for hanging out with us today.
Yeah, thank you, brother Repro.
Thank you, Brother Repro. I want to show something else too, because I think it is, and you're right, Chris. I mean, you bring up a great point about, and this goes back to the esports piece. This changes how people play Call of Duty, because, you know, tournaments were all PlayStation. You know, the esports was wrapped around PlayStation because of Activision's deal with Sony.
Mm-hmm.
Well, Microsoft can pull that lever and have all Call of Duty esports now be Xbox. So all these Call of Duty folks who, let's be honest, many of them, I'd say reluctantly moved over because they've always preferred the Xbox controller. And I've heard that from many of them. But of course, you go where the where, you know, kind of the official, you know, if you want to play these esports, you got to play them on PS. So may as well go ahead and get a PlayStation and play Call of Duty. It's, you know, this changes that completely. 100% changes that, and that's where it's going to hurt Sony the most. You know, and if they do lose the franchise altogether, I mean, it is a big pull off of their, you know, the question is will they lose it altogether? And that's a great question. I mean, you know, people point to Minecraft because Minecraft is still on everything, but I would argue, and Minecraft Dungeons, which was a new game, came out multi-platform, but I would argue that Minecraft is a different animal than this because Minecraft is geared more towards a kid market. So so there's a bigger pool to play with here, whereas Call of Duty, I mean, sure, they might lose a couple million sales on the PlayStation side, but how many sales are they going to pick up on the Xbox side to make up for that, plus Game Pass subscriptions? And that right there is the bottom line of all of this.
Yeah.
So, this is to show you how powerful Phil Spencer has become. This is his team. So this is Microsoft Gaming's leadership team. All right. This isn't just Phil Spencer and Matt Booty. This is Phil Spencer and this entire group of people, from experience development to their own HR to product services, chief of staff. They just brought Jarrett West in from another department to be part of marketing, because they're gonna they're gonna market Xbox in a way they haven't marketed before. Cloud, finance, and then you have the ecosystem organization. There you've got Sarah Bond, who is in charge basically of the ecosystem, Game Pass, cloud gaming. Like, that's her bailiwick, and then you got Matt Booty, who's in charge of game studios. The only interesting thing, I start to wonder what Matt's role is going to become, because one of the things that was made very clear, and I think this was very pointed, is that Activision's team is going to report to Phil. And not to Matt Booty. That was something that I keyed in on when I read both the Xbox article and Phil's email to the staff. He says, where is it? We expect this acquisition to close in fiscal year 23, pending regulatory approvals. Once the acquisition is completed, the Activision-Blizzard business will report to me. Not report to Matt, not report to anybody else, will report to me. That speaks very directly to what Microsoft is going to expect from Activision-Blizzard as part of this. So,
and that could be for the meantime, right? Because, so does that mean Bethesda report to him, or they report to Matt Booty through and to Phil? Or because Bethesda's also treated like they're part of Xbox, but they're also their own. You know, you hear Xbox and Bethesda, right? They still have the Bethesda name. So going forward, are we still? So is like Activision going to be like a gaming division, gaming studio along with all the others too, but they're going to keep the Activision name? Bethesda?
I don't know.
Because maybe it's easier, like with Bethesda, instead of getting rid of the name, which why would you? And Activision's been a name it goes way back, right? Just like Pete was bringing up, you know, Pitfall and all that. We all have seen that name, especially as old school gamers. So I guess in a way, I don't see them getting rid of that name, Activision. But
No,
I think
don't
with
think they
them
will.
reporting to Phil directly, I think in the meantime he's going to make sure, because we've read up all the issues that Activision's had this past year with the sexual harassment and so on. They've had leadership that have resigned, and then Phil's going to make sure that the Activision is a healthy environment. He's going to foster a positive, inclusive environment. He's going to be in charge of that.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm sure then later on down the road, maybe they'll, okay, now I'm happy where they're at. Okay, y'all can report to Matt Booty or whoever going forward. But so I can't remember his name, the guy that's the CEO of Activision right now.
Bobby
And they
Kotick.
said he'll be, and then he's had some issues, right, recently. There's been some controversy with him. But I think they can't really just necessarily get him out because, I'm sure there's a lot of legal issues and so on, money-wise. They got to, take that time to let the process go through with the buyout. And I'm sure next year, once everything's done and you can go, bye.
That's and there's conflicting reports out there about what Bobby Kotick is gonna
he also wrote that he said he will be around as long as they need me.
Right. No.
What's up, Jan?
But yeah, so this was Phil's way of saying like about fixing the that issue. Is like, hey, we'll come in and we'll clean house.
Yep.
Can't do that if you don't own him.
Right. So,
and there seemed to be some positive feedback too from the studios from Activision.
Hey, Cyrus. Everybody's keying in on this Pitfall thing. So we got about 15 minutes because I want to I want to make sure that Tuesday's not our normal night, and I promised Noof that we would respect his time as I know they would do for us. So the other piece of this is the Game Pass aspect. So another announcement that they made today was that they finally gave an update, so to speak, on Game Pass, and it was semi buried in all of this stuff. They've reached 25 million subscribers for Game Pass.
And that was a 39% increase over
the
last number they ever gave us, right? like
Yes,
18,
which was we thought it was
That-
18.
18 million.
It was like 18 plus. They didn't give us that
Yeah.
number. And right now they're saying 25 plus.
They're saying 25,
Yeah,
right?
I mean,
So
it's,
there's, but
they probably have to do some little bit of fuzzy math about, people coming and going and this and that. So
Sure.
it's like,
sure, no doubt. But yeah, it says Game Pass now has more than 25 million subscribers. So
Yeah.
think about this in the sense that hey, Back, I know you're trying to call. We'll get you in on our next show to talk, because we're only going to be on a few more minutes. The Game Pass at $15 a month, right?
well,
What-
wait 1 second. The Game Pass was not just the Xbox console side of Game Pass. It's also the PC part,
Also the PC part.
which
Mhm.
I think is like, isn't it $5 or $10?
I don't-
Is it 5 or 10 a month?
No,
Might be $9.99. Because
I thought it went up recently. It was
maybe.
5, and then it for the introduction, I guess, had a period, but I think it is 10 a month,
yeah,
which is still good. And
yeah, it's $9.99 a month.
But
$9.99 a
I have
month.
a couple
Okay.
buddies that once they got on it, that it was worth it, and they had no problem paying 10 a month.
All right, so let's just take $10 a month for a minute. Let's take
Mhm.
out let's take out let's take out of the equation $15. Let's just go $10. Okay, 25 million subscribers times $10 a piece is $250 million a month times 12 months is $3 billion a year.
Yeah.
Is what Game Pass can bring in. So Killer Scorpion saying 4.5 billion a year. I'm going off if we're going $10 a year. $10 a month. If we're going 15, if we're gonna so you got to figure the mixture of Game Pass and Game Pass Ultimate. You're probably sitting somewhere between that 3 billion and 4 billion a year. So there's a reason that Microsoft can make a $68 billion all cash transaction.
Yeah.
Mhm.
For people that are that I mean, $3 billion a year, they won't spend that. They won't spend that in overall game development. Maybe they will now, but they're not gonna hurt. And this is only going to improve Game Pass. I mean, if you think 25 million is nice now, wait until they put the entire Activision-Blizzard catalog in Game Pass. So
Yeah, it'll be
Yeah,
huge.
it's just no way that Xbox. I'm sure, depending on the game, AAA to indie, how much money the deal they work out with the developer studio. Like here's so much money to be on Game Pass for so long, whatever. They come to agreement, both sides. If they're making $3-4 billion a year, they have plenty of money to make deals throughout the year to bring games to Game Pass.
mm-hmm.
They're not hurting, and they're
not.
is with these especially upcoming developers, indie games or so on. What was the game the earlier in the year that last year that was a multiplayer one, the one that was Square Enix one that was published by Square Enix?
Outriders.
Yeah. So there's a risk for those games, right? And back in the day, if that game was just published by Square Enix and it came out, it may not have done as well without a deal with Game Pass, which had engagement numbers there for people to try it, and so they were probably bigger engagement, a little bit more successful. That they probably would not have been. It would have gotten lost in the shuffle back in the day, without Game Pass. So, I mean, that this is just where the future of gaming is at, and you see PlayStation is revamping up their PS Now subscription, which it's not probably going to be called that going forward, and they're going to have a subscription similar to Game Pass. Now, as of right now, their big games are not day of date, but I could see that happening at some point. But
I think it's going to have to.
Some of the third-party deals that they do could be day of date, which are probably will be okay with at first, but it's just where it's going. And Nintendo will probably be the last one to, do a subscription service like that. So we'll see.
I mean, yeah. And this is, Killer Scorpion makes a really good point. There's 4 million active users with Activision's games. Imagine just getting a piece of that into Game Pass.
Mm-hmm.
Imagine getting a quarter of that. Let's say 100 million active users start buying Game Pass because they want to play the next Call of Duty, or Diablo 4 or Overwatch 2, or
like World of Warcraft, right? Hey, get Game Pass and you can try World of Warcraft. Maybe World of Warcraft is its own subscription, right?
Yes.
So that's interesting how that's going to work going forward, because if you have Game Pass, let's say you have Ultimate or whatever, now you can play World of Warcraft on PC. You don't have to pay another subscription on top of it. You're already playing Game Pass, right?
Right.
So, yeah, this is big.
Yeah, this is. I mean, I'm still trying to wrap my head around all this.
When I first saw this morning, I after our meetings and kind of get everything situated this morning, and got my coffee, finished my coffee. And then around break time, around 8 something, I looked at my phone and I'm like, I saw it in DM first. And I'm like, huh? Wait, what?
Yeah, I know. I woke up this morning. I'm like, what?
I mean, this came out of nowhere. Now, I remember a while back, I did bring up, I don't know which podcast, or maybe it was one of our streams, that we were talking about how, Activision, with the troubles they were going through, legal issues, the optics, a lot of people were saying, I'm not going to buy Activision games. I'm not going to support them. We've had Keeley come out at the Game Awards show. So they started to get a lot of flack from, now they're starting getting bigger influencers talking down Activision. And I'm sure they had sponsors that they lost, right? During that time, a few sponsors, I think investors were threatening Activision. And I think because of all that, I think that led to this deal with Xbox. And I think Activision had no choice going forward, because if they kept going on trying to fix their image and settle all these legal issues, I think they would have struggled, and they might have, who knows, maybe end up to the point where they were having to sell off some of these IPs, and, maybe Tencent or whoever.
Mm-hmm.
But with Xbox coming in, now they can come in and kind of save that Activision studios and the IPs, and what they did with Bethesda. I think they're going to, of course, continue that with Activision. They got allow all these studios to continue doing what they do and what they want. So,
yep,
you can see these studios like Overwatch to do. Hey, okay, we're good at Overwatch. We want to grow. We want to expand. We want to do another IP. Diablo, Call of Duty has what 3 or 4 studios that are trying to bring these games every year.
Treyarch,
who knows?
Sledgehammer, Infinity Ward, and Raven.
So
and Raven.
So maybe going forward, maybe they'd be like, look, we're not going to do it yearly. We're going to bring Call of Duty out every 2 years. So maybe you don't need all 4 of those studios to continue that. So now you have extra studios that can work on other games. So there's so much potential. You know, we've seen it with Bethesda, and we've seen it with Obsidian, and all the other studios that the Xbox has acquired before, and those studios already have multiple IPs in work. So, yeah, it's great. It's
And also people who want to move around, you know. Maybe
Yeah.
they're tired of working on, you know, like for instance, like some people from Gears of War, they went to, you know, Blizzard and stuff, and you know, they always enjoy working with Microsoft, but they want to change the scenery. And you know, I've read like 2 accounts where they were kind of happy, like, hey, now we're Microsoft again. Now we have, you know, the best of both worlds. So, but I'm curious how other employees react, you know, because obviously people will have their preferences
Oh yeah.
of system.
Of course.
Like, I'm curious. Like during the whole Bethesda ZeniMax deal, to me it felt like they were already like very cozy with Microsoft.
Yeah.
You know, with Xbox.
Activision,
With this,
not so much.
not so much. So I'm very
Somewhat.
curious to see how this
Yeah.
develops. I mean, sure, we have, you know, maybe they had seats planted by what we said earlier, Mike Ibarra and Rod
Rod
Ferguson.
Ferguson.
Right.
They already
who
had an
knows?
inside track, track on things.
But yeah, I'm curious how this will pan out.
Hey, Sister
Sam, what's up?
Foxfire. Sister Foxy in the house.
Masshole! Just jumped in.
Oh, Masshole. Hey, what's up, Masshole? I'm sorry, I missed you there. So we got a couple of minutes left. And of course, I mean, we're gonna pick this back up. We are still planning on, I think, playing Rainbow Six Extraction on Thursday, and obviously we're gonna talk about this some more, because there's gonna be more that's gonna come out as we go. But I want you guys to consider that, or to think about this for a minute, how strangely different the gaming industry has become. Activision was the original and very first third-party developer, publisher. They made games on the Atari 2600 and eventually the Intellivision and stuff, but that was the start of third-party publishing, was Activision. And then along comes like Parker Brothers and some others, and then that paved the way later, for other publishers to do things. But Activision was the original, and now they're a first-party studio. That's how different things are now. And consider this: 68 billion and change. Nintendo's entire market cap, their value, is 60 billion. So Activision costs more than Nintendo, which means they could have bought Nintendo.
They could if
they
Nintendo would
tried.
allow it.
They tried.
did try.
Well, remember that, right? Remember that? Remember they tried. They got laughed out of the building.
Yeah.
It's amazing. I mean, Ubisoft is worth 7 or 8 billion. I forgot. Take-Two is worth 18. EA is worth like 39, and Nintendo's worth 60. And Activision-Blizzard turned out to be worth 68.7.
Yeah.
So, man.
Hey, a little fun fact. They published Doom 3, Wolfenstein series.
I remember that.
In the
They owned
2000s.
id. They owned id at the time.
Yeah.
That's how I met the guys from id. That's how I knew Todd Hollinshead and Tim Willits. I met them through Activision.
You think we're gonna get a new True Crime?
Wouldn't that be nice?
Yeah.
Although was Sleeping Dogs published by Activision?
Sleeping Dogs?
Yeah, because Sleeping Dogs was supposed to be the third in the True Crime series.
Yeah. I don't know. I don't see it.
I just think it's crazy while you're looking that up that when
Yeah.
go ahead. When ZeniMax was acquired, there was this talk of synergy, but Todd Howard was still gonna run, Bethesda. Pete Hines was still gonna have, and he does to an extent a little bit, but like Todd Howard is still kind of the head of Bethesda and all that stuff.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
That's not happening here.
As of right now, no.
Right.
No.
Yeah.
The entire
Phil
business
wants to
will
clean
be
up that.
Phil
Activision.
has he is putting his hand
Yeah.
right on the back of Bobby Kotick and is either gonna pull him in the direction he needs to go or he's going to get pushed out the door.
Because here's another thing. Like, what's the board going to do? I mean, Activision is printing money, right? Everything is Jim Dandy. So, I mean, unless there are criminal charges filed, that doesn't do them any good if they're making good money. Maybe if the stock dropped much lower, maybe, who knows?
Right.
But, so.
I don't see him staying.
No, he's not going to stay.
Looking at the Activision deal, they own Sekiro. It said Sekiro's on the games for Activision. Activision must own it, but they probably own the game, the rights, and they probably worked out a deal with the, FromSoft to develop the game. But as of here, that's Activision's game.
I mean, the thing is, like, lead director Hidetaki Miyazaki wanted to create a new intellectual property that marked a departure from the Souls series of games, also made by From Software.
Right.
Yeah. Well, they made.
So, I mean, is he going to work on a IP that they don't own? I don't know.
Well, I'm sure they work out a deal.
Programs.
I'm sure Xbox would be like, we want you to do another one. I mean, it did win Game of the Year.
It did. I don't know.
The game looked to series such as The Mysterious Murasame Castle and Tenchu for inspiration. So, who knows? One way or the other.
Yeah. Well,
interesting.
Look, if that's the only game that doesn't make it to the catalog, I think we'll be okay. I mean,
yeah. But if it would go to Game Pass, maybe it will go regardless.
Yeah.
I would give it a whirl.
Yep. And one other thing that, of course, is going to stop. It's not just the esports stuff with Call of Duty, but that's the end of the 1-year timed exclusive Sony PlayStation content.
Oh yeah, anything from Activision,
yeah. So, oh wow. So guys, we're at 10:04, and again, I know I'm gonna keep it a quick eye on Gaming After Dark. If they're going live, I don't want to. Yeah, they're going live. I don't want to slip over. I don't want to run over their stuff.
I want Chopper Command to come back.
Oh yeah.
I love that game back then. Pitfall, Chopper.
Yeah.
River Raid.
Oh my God, they owned River Raid. Stampede.
Here it shows they own the Transformer series too.
What about a Game Gun? That? You don't need
Mech Warrior.
We don't need Red Dead.
No. This is amazing. I mean, this really is. This is.
Yeah, I know some people out there. Oh, this is monopoly, and they think that this is bad for the game industry. And I mean, I don't see it that way. And especially as a Game Pass subscriber, I just see more games that are be available to me on Game Pass. To me, it's a win-win. Even Pete in the chat brought it up earlier. Like, it's just Game Pass This just adds more value to Game Pass.
Oh gosh, yes. This makes Game Pass so much more of a big thing.
And Sony, Nintendo's Nintendo. They're doing their own thing, and they're making a shitload of money. Games make a lot of money. They sell a lot of Switches. They're not hurting. They know they're good. Sony, they has a lot of great IPs. Like you said, they're number 2 in as far as overall sales in the industry. And now they're starting to put their games on PC. Hopefully one day of date. And then they're getting into their own Game Pass subscription deal. And, hopefully that stuff will be a day of date. And they're going to make a lot of money. They're going to see it.
They're going to see it.
It's competition. This is where the industry's going. There's no monopoly here. As long as Xbox support these studios to bring out good content, hopefully they improve on top of what these games are already doing, because they're going to be pumping in more money than what Activision probably was doing. We'll see. I mean, you got to give it time, let these games cook, see what happens. Nothing's always perfect. So, it's interesting.
Yeah.
Huge.
It really is.
And it's back in the day, you were saying, we've never seen something like this, right? Like back in the day when Sony was acquiring studios like Gorilla and Naughty Dog, I never heard anything about that. It wasn't like, probably it was there in Game Informer at some point, whatever, but not on this level. There's when you got EA and Sony and them, they're picking up studios, but now you have Microsoft that came into the gaming industry, and they finally they were behind. All they were doing was throwing money, having these games made for the Xbox. They weren't buying studios. They had a few. The biggest one, of course, was Bungie. The great, Halo. So that was the best thing they did back then. It paid off, right? But they were still behind on building a foundation of studios. That's why they were struggling, and Xbox One, throughout that to have a good, consistent content throughout that gen. But, there's publishers who buy studios, and then there's
Microsoft.
People like Microsoft that buys publishers,
right? This is the second publisher they've bought now.
I know. Yeah, it's crazy, and you could probably even put that in Minecraft in that, because Minecraft is huge. They spent $2 billion.
They got that back. They got that back and then
yeah.
some.
Yeah.
Oh. All right, Peter. Final thoughts.
I mean, what I always say, it's always more convenient when it happens on your preferred platform, and especially in Game Pass. I mean, it's like, it's like they opened up a new section in a buffet down there, So we got lots more to eat soon. But yeah, I mean, it's since we're heavily into Game Pass, it's exciting for us.
Yeah.
That's the key here is, I mean, I wouldn't have cared, honestly, if Tencent bought them, if Sony bought them, if anybody bought them. I really wouldn't care about that if it wasn't for the fact that Game Pass makes this the big piece of this. I mean, Game Pass, there will be no competition to Game Pass at this point. I mean, you just can't. I don't know. I just don't know how you do it. And Sony, Sony could make some moves to do, day and date with their first party stuff, and that would be great. I'll subscribe to it, but don't forget too, Ubisoft Plus is coming to Xbox, so it's a whole other thing we got to talk about very soon.
But quick thought about that. It's like, it used to be like Ubisoft Plus was like a big deal because they have a lot of games, but now it's like the amount of games that would bring that to Game Pass is now smaller percentage wise after this Activision deal. So
this is true.
It's not going to be as huge. So who knows? Maybe we'll get a better deal out of it.
Maybe
for the Game Pass subscriber. So instead of $10 a month extra, it's now only $5.
Right. No. All right. So we got more to talk about, but we're gonna call it here. We just need to get in this and talk about this. We're gonna continue this discussion Thursday while we're playing Rainbow Six, and then of course I'm sure we're gonna be talking about this for a couple of weeks as more stuff shakes out. Thank you guys all who joined us for this emergency
This emergency broadcast.
And head on over to our brother Noof Nukem. I'll go ahead and put that link in the chat for everybody. Go say hi. Go say hi. Gaming After Dark. Let them know that we sent you. Man, what a day, guys. What a day.
Yeah, it's cool. It's cool to get news like this. And I was talking to a buddy at work about it, when, he's big into gaming, and we were just like, what?
Crazy stuff. So,
yeah.
All right, everyone, have a great night. Thank you, everybody who joined us in chat. We will see you Thursday back here for some Rainbow Six Extraction. So, we'll have open party. As always, when we do our stream and chat, we'll have open party. You can find us on Xbox. You'll be able to see us on our Xbox. Jump in. If there's room to play the game, come play the game. It's in Game Pass. So, thanks, guys, and we will see you very soon. Have a great night. Play on, gamers.
Adios, gamers.